Finance is not difficult to learn, rather, it is like music to ears. And I'm sure at the end of today's session, you will have the same feeling. You will have the same feeling. And why do I say this? I say this based on my experience of delivering these sessions everywhere. This is how it happens. So please have the same thought in your mind as well. How to master the art of reading financial statements? First of all, let me tell you, for being good in finance, you do not have to you do not have to spend too much of time, reading too many books on financial management. It is not so. To be good in finance, what you need to have good understanding of only three statements. And when I'm telling you this, remember, I really mean it. So basically, particularly for all of you who are women entrepreneur, having your own business, your own industry, it is more so. This is what you need to know. What is profit and loss, what is balance sheet, and what is cash flow statement, and that's it. Why do I say this? I say this because remember, as the owner of the business or promoter of the business or the director of the business or the CEO of your business, you do not have to write the accounts. You do not have to prepare the P&L. You do not have to prepare the balance sheet. What you only need to know is if a P&L comes in front of you, you should be able to figure out as to how my company is doing, in which direction my company is going. If the balance sheet comes in front of you, you should be able to figure out as to what are the strengths of my company, what are the weaknesses of my company as far as the financial position is concerned, and that is what all you should be able to figure out. And for this, you do not have to be an MBA, you do not have to be a chartered accountant. And by the way, I'm not saying so because I want to discourage people to become chartered accountant or an MBA, because I myself is an MBA and chartered accountant, so I don't intend to discourage people. But at the same time, I want to remove this fear from the minds of the people that you do not really have to have those degrees for becoming good in profit in business and in finance. So one is profit and loss statement, you need to understand, balance sheet you need to understand, and the cash flow statement that you need to understand. And that is what we are going to do in this program. I'm sure we all have heard of this thing called electron, neutron, and proton. Incidentally, if you have a good understanding of electron, neutron, and proton, you can solve any problem in the domain of physics that we all understand. So same is the case with the business also. So in case of a business, if you understand what is P&L, if you understand what is balance sheet, if you understand what is cash flow and what purpose do they serve, believe me, you can solve any problem in the domain of business as well. And this is so scientific, so systematic that it becomes more interesting. As a matter of fact, more you get into it, more you would realize that the P&L and the balance sheet and the cash flow, reading them is truly very interesting. So before we begin today's session, I would urge all of you to please spend 2 minutes and 25 seconds. In the next 2 minutes and 25 seconds, I'm going to urge all of you to post all your doubts, all your questions, all your queries pertaining to P&L, balance sheet, and the cash flow in the chat box. And also, we have this session for about 2 hours. I would also urge all of you to write down your expectations also. We have this session for 2 hours. So in these 2 hours, what is that you would like to take away from this session? So please write it down, those also in the chat box. This is going to be my endeavor that before we close this session today, you do not go with questions in your mind about finance. You go with answers about finance in your mind. So that is what the aim and objective is. And what we're going to do for sure is before we close this session, we will run through all the questions and queries and doubts and expectations that you may have posted in the chat box. We will go through them one by one, and we will ensure that before we close this session, all those questions, queries, and doubts are duly answered, and you are satisfied with them. I'm sure as we progress, many of those doubts and questions will get clarified while we are discussing. But in case if something still remains, we will take it up at that time. So you have a time of 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Please, please, please write everything that comes to your mind. Everything that comes to your mind. Your time starts now. Whatever doubts they come, whatever doubts you get in your mind, do not worry about them. You might think that it's so simple. Doesn't really matter. There is nothing as simple. So